deal with a setback and try to bounce back than to watch how we handled our successes. Show what you are made of, he would say. Graduating from Wake Forest means all of you have experienced success already, and some of you, and now I'm talking to anyone who's been dumped. You bet. Not gotten the job you really wanted, or received those horrible rejection letters from grad school. You know the sting of losing, or not getting something you badly want. When that happens, show what you are made of. I was in China recently, and as some of you know, the New York Times website has been blocked by censors there for more than a year. That means in China, citizens cannot read the most authoritative coverage of their country. And every time I reflexively tried to open the Times website, I got the message, Safari cannot open the page, which made me become more and more furious. While I was in Beijing, one of our Chinese journalists, Patrick Zha, was detained for hours by authorities. The government meant to scare and intimidate him. Why was he detained? Simply because he worked as a truthful journalist. So what did he do? He came right back to work and quietly got on with things. I did what I believe, and that makes me fearless, Patrick told me after his ordeal. You know, New York Times journalists risk their lives frequently to bring you the best news report in the world. That's why it is such an important and irreplaceable institution. And it was the honor of my life to lead the newsroom. A couple of students who I was talking to last night after I arrived, they know that I have some tattoos. And one of them asked me, are you going to get that Times T that you have tattooed on your back removed? Not a chance. I faced a little challenge of my own not long ago. I got run over and almost killed by a truck in Times Square. You may begin to call me Calamity Jill, but stay with me here. And with the 7th anniversary of that accident approaching, I wrote an article about the risk to pedestrians with 3 Times colleagues who had also been struck and hurt. We mentioned a 9-year-old boy in the top of our story who had been hit and killed by a cab early in the year. A few days after the story was published, I got an email from Dana Lerner. It began, "Thank you for the article you wrote in last Sunday's Times. The boy you mentioned is my son, Cooper Stock." I met with Dana last Thursday, and Cooper was just killed in January. But Dana, her husband, and others are already working on a new law to make the streets safer. She is taking an unimaginable loss and already trying to do something constructive. We human beings are a lot more resilient than we often realize. Resilient and persevering. And there are so many examples of this. For me professionally, 3 heroes are Nan Robertson, a groundbreaking reporter of the New York Times, and Catherine Graham, the publisher of the Washington Post, which broke the Watergate story. They both faced discrimination in a much tougher, more male-dominated newspaper industry, and they went on to win Pulitzer Prizes. My colleague Jim Risen, who is standing up against an unfair Washington leak investigation, is another hero. I co-authored a book about Anita Hill, who testified about sexual harassment before an all-white, all-male Senate Judiciary Committee in the 1990s. The senators portrayed her as being as one of her detractors so delicately put it, a little bit nutty and a little bit slutty. She turned that potential humiliation into a great career teaching at Brandeis University and writing books that tell truth to power. Anita was one of the many people who wrote me last week to say they are proud of me. Those messages are so appreciated. Some of you have faced danger or even a soul-scorching loss, but most of you haven't, and leaving the protective cocoon of school for the working world must seem scary. You will probably have a dozen different jobs, try all different things. Sure, losing a job you love hurts, but the work I revere, journalism that holds powerful institutions and people accountable, is what makes our democracy so resilient. This is the work I will remain very much a part of. My only reluctance in showing up today was that the small media circus following me would detract attention away from you, the fabulous class of 2014. What total knockouts you are. What's next for me? I don't know. So I'm in exactly the same boat as many of you. And like you, I'm a little scared, but also excited. You know, I don't really think Coach Manning could find much use for me. But right after this speech, I booked a private session with Andy Chan.